Fans, we got some exciting news because Donovan Mitchell was officially traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. For so long, it looked like the New York Knicks were the team destined to land Donovan Mitchell, and the whole thought process was, okay, we'll get the Lakers to jump into a 3-team deal. They'll get some assets from the Knicks, they'll get some assets from the Jazz, this, that, and the other. Lakers will be right. Why not get some vet guys, add some depth, add some wing players, this, that, and the other, right? That was the goal, that was the idea. Well, turns out that the Knicks got swooped on and the Cleveland Cavaliers were able to come in at the, witching hour and basically steal Donovan Mitchell from the New York Knicks, which is huge for the Cavs, and big ups to the Cavs. It's really great to see. They have an awesome team and they're going to be really good this upcoming season. But what does this mean for the Lakers, right? Now, I did do a live stream diving into some of this, but I figured put it in some video form for those that maybe didn't want to see a 2-hour live stream and kind of help you understand exactly what it means for the Lakers now. Now, right off the bat, the Lakers deal is not dead. This is actually a better position for the Lakers than ever before. Obviously, if you could have done a 3-team deal with the Knicks, cool, perfect. People wonder, why didn't they do a 3-team deal with the Cavs? Completely different situation. They don't have the mid-tier guys. A lot of the guys are young. They didn't want to give up. You're not going to get a Markin or a Sexton. That's not going to happen. So there was no way the Lakers could have gotten in on a 3-team deal for something like this. But the Lakers could trade for the Jazz individually. The Jazz now have a ton of veterans that they don't need, and the Lakers would be more than happy to acquire some of those veterans, right? Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, Bogdanovich, you have Beasley, you have a lot of guys that would be a welcome addition to the Lakers team, add some depth, add some scoring, add some shooting, some wing defenders, all of that, this, that, and the other. That's the goal. Also, when it comes to the Utah Jazz, all of the deals that they have made, from the Rudy Gobert trade to the Donovan Mitchell trade to even the Lakers trade, it was one for several player swaps. The Utah Jazz have like 20 plus players on their roster, which means they have to unload some of them. Now, you could unload them all in individual deals and get back, little pieces, second round picks, whatever. But the Utah Jazz, they have to unload some of these players. And it makes sense to unload some of these veteran guys. Here's the thing. Do you unload some of these veteran guys and send them to teams and also have to give up assets? Or do you do just one deal with a team like the Lakers, take on Russell Westbrook, do a 3 or 4 for 1 player swap, and now you're just buying out Westbrook and all is right in the world, and you just cleared 4 players off your books. You get a first round pick in the deal. All is good. Maybe some second picks, things like that. The Lakers, the beauty of this too, is the Lakers likely don't have to give up both first now in this situation, because Utah, again, they have to unload some of these players, and they're not going to get firsts for most of these guys. The whole thing is Danny Ainge is looking like, hey, we can fleece the Lakers. The difference is, yes, that would have happened prior. Now you just got a bunch of young guys that you need to get minutes for, that you need to help retool and rebuild this franchise. You got a ton of assets, a ton of picks. You're not going to go and take those picks and start unloading them to get rid of some of these players. The Lakers are in a rare situation where they would more than happily take some of these players, and you have the only contract in the league that is as big as Russell Westbrook's and expiring. So Utah wanted Westbrook before. Now it makes that much more sense for Westbrook to go to the Jazz. They unload, say, a Mike Conley, a Jordan Clarkson, a Bogdanovich, something like that. Obviously, I would love, my dream scenario would be Bogdanovich, say like Clarkson, Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt, but I don't think that they're going to trade Vanderbilt, although they did get Lauri Markkanen. So, do they now look at him as expendable? If the Lakers at least have to ask, right? You at least ask if you could get Vanderbilt. If you can, that is great. But realistically, it'll probably look something like the 3 guys on your screen. Although I would love if we could get Bogdanovich, say Mike Conley, and a Malik Beasley. I think Malik Beasley would be fantastic, because Malik Beasley, he's only 25 years old, 6'4", 6'5", with some size, with some wingspan, a 3-and-D guy. You get Bogdanovich, who's got some size, knock down some 3. You get your wing depth here. Now, I know some people want Rudy Gay. I'm really not a fan of Rudy Gay anymore. I loved Rudy Gay for years, especially when he was on like the, grit and grind Grizzlies, stuff like that. He's not the same player. He's up there in age. He's not the defender he once was. He's not the scorer he once was. He can have his moments here and there, but you need more than just big bodies. You need guys that can actually be effective, can be part of the rotation, stuff like that. You get a Malik Beasley, you get a Bogdanovich. Those are two guys that can play the wing, that could guard multiple positions, that can knock down shots. That's what you need. Beasley is also young, so it fits the movement now. He is also on a team option, if I'm not mistaken. So if the Lakers need to clear up cap space, they can go and clear up cap space with him. It's a good situation for the Lakers to be in if they can acquire him. Now, I know a lot of people want Jordan Clarkson. I'm not big on Jordan Clarkson. I love Jordan Clarkson as a player, but here's the thing. He is very inefficient, and he has a lot of bad habits that Utah was okay with him having. Utah was okay with Jordan Clarkson being that shot clunker and just throwing stuff up. I mean, if you actually watch Jordan Clarkson play with the Utah Jazz, that guy takes some of the worst shots I've ever seen, but he has the green light to do so. He is a black hole, essentially, when it comes to the ball for the Utah Jazz. Is he going to be the same thing for the Lakers? Yes, he's a bucket, but I don't think we need buckets. We need shooting, and we need wing guys that can guard on the perimeter. Mike Conley, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, would have been perfect. Now, I do think in a backup role, I think he could be very serviceable. I kind of go back and forth with Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson, because I do think Lakers are going to end up having to take one of them. I kind of lean more towards Mike Conley just because you get the veteran experience. He can knock down the three ball. He's not going to try to do too much. He's going to stay within the frame. He's high IQ, a guy that can play with LeBron, without LeBron, on the ball, off the ball. I think he would be a great, backup point guard. You have him come in, give him that backup spot minutes for point guard. I think that would be a great position for the Lakers to be in. But I do think the Lakers now really start looking towards the Jazz to try to upgrade this roster and get some of these players, because Utah has to. They have to unload some of these guys. And the Lakers are one of the rare teams that would actually take these guys on, give up assets, and if you're the Jazz, you actually don't have to take on bad salary or bad contracts. Maybe some teams will do maybe Miami would take 3 of these players and you take Duncan Robinson on a bad deal. But if you're the Jazz, do you want to take that bad contract? No, of course you don't. So what else do? You look at the Lakers and you say they have an expiring contract that we can buy out. We'd be in a great position. Let's go trade, 3 or 4 guys. Go get that. If we could end up with Malik Beasley, Bogdanovich, Vanderbilt, and Clarkson, or Mike Conley. I think Mike Conley is a little close. We'd have to give up Wynn and Gabriel, and I still think it's a little close salary-wise. But if they could get something like that, I think that's a great position for the Lakers to be in. You get some young assets, you get some veteran assets, you get, you're in a good position. You're looking forward. Now, people might be thinking, well, what about the Buddy Hield and Miles Turner deal? Now, I still think, yes, this deal is arguably better, depending on the situation. I think if you get Vanderbilt and you get Beasley, I think that you can make the argument that the other deal is better, that the Pacers deal is better, but I think that this deal is pretty solid. Problem is that the Pacers just want way too much. Their asking price is ridiculous. And unless they come down, I don't see it happening. I don't see the Lakers going after this. I see the Lakers going for the Jazz deal. Problem is that if you're the Lakers, do you go to the Pacers and say, hey, you still want that same asking price, or do you want to lower your price? Because now Utah needs to unload guys. We have a trade now. We have a deal now. Whatever that turns out to be, we'll see. But we have a team that has to unload guys. So what do you want to do? You want to do this deal, or do you want us to go do the Jazz deal? Do you want to lose Miles Turner for nothing? Do you want to pay Buddy Hield his contract? Or do you want to do this deal? We'll give you 1 first and leave it at that. We're not taking Daniel Tice. That sucks for you. You can get a first and Westbrook, help you out, or we'll just go do the Jazz deal. And you can keep these guys, and maybe you can unload them, maybe you can't. It's not like a bunch of people are banging on the door to try to go get these guys. What do you want to do? If I'm the Lakers, I'm giving the Pacers an ultimatum. Look, we are in negotiations right now with the Jazz. Make your choice. You better hurry up. And let them, if they want to play hardball, let them play hardball. Keep Miles Turner. Miles Turner, yes, he's a great shot blocker, stuff like that, but he's a 12-7 guy that wants $20+ million. I don't think he's worth that kind of money. Buddy Hield, he's a great shooter, but he doesn't provide anything outside of shooting. I just think that this gives you, the only reason I like this deal better than the Jazz deal is because I think, one, it gives you that dead-eye shooter, which the Lakers desperately need, and it gives you that insurance for Anthony Davis. But Miles Turner has been injury-prone the last few years too. So it's like, you get what you get. So I do think we should expect a Lakers deal probably by the end of the week, would be my guess. I don't know for sure. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but I imagine the Lakers and the Jazz are starting to work out conversations. I mean, it could happen at any moment. I mean, while you're watching this video, it could happen. But I think realistically, probably take a couple days because they're going to get in negotiations. Lakers are going to try to convince Utah to give up this piece, that piece, and the other. And they're going to try to figure it out. But anyway, as always, pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. At the end of the day, this gets rid of Westbrook. So people are happy. We're all happy, right? You get rid of Westbrook. We get some pieces that could really help us now. What more could you ask for? That'd be a perfect position to be in, right? But yeah, I'd love to hear thoughts and opinions. I'd love to know how you feel about the situation. Are you excited? Are you not? What pieces do you want from the Jazz? What do you think is realistic? What would be like your dream scenario? Like I said, I don't think Lakers can get Vanderbilt, but if we could get Vanderbilt, Beasley, Bogdanovich, and like Clarkson, I think that is a grand slam trade. I think that's the best trade the Lakers could ask for. I just don't think we're going to be able to get Vanderbilt. I think everyone else we could get, but Vanderbilt, I don't think we'll be able to get. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Love to hear yours. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.